How's it going, everyone? Nori plays here with an update video for Cyberpunk. You can see here hotfix 1.05 is now updated for PC and the consoles. So hopefully this is good because there's a lot of stuff here that could be very important to improving gameplay experience. So let's head right into it. So in the first section we have quests. You can see that there's a lot of quest bug fixes. I'll go through some of these and say whether, just give an overview. So Jackie will no longer disappear in the pickup or the heist. I didn't even know this could happen. Fixed an issue preventing players from landing the helicopter in love-like fire. Fixed an issue with Takamura not calling in to play it safe. It's no longer possible to trigger the same dialogue twice in Big in Japan. Fixed an issue with Delmain appearing upside down at the end of Don't Lose Your Mind. Sol now correctly reaches the van in Riders of the Storm. Fast traveling before the encounter with Tiger Claws no longer breaks progression in I Fought the Law. Fixed an issue blocking progress in Ghost Town if an autosave made upon Raffen Schiff's arrival was loaded. Fixed an issue with not receiving new calls or messages if Happy Together failed as a result of combat. Elizabeth Perales stops being excessively insistent with her calls after her job has been refused. So this one was a big one, I think. Most people were getting spammed with phone calls, and yeah, it just wasn't the best time to play the game. The scene with Misty and Jackie now starts properly after leaving Victor's clinic. So sometimes here Jackie would just randomly levitate over a chair when he was having a conversation with Misty. But I believe that is to be fixed now as well. Wakako's dialogues no longer get blocked after finishing Search and Destroy. Walking away from Stefan in Sweet Dreams shouldn't prevent other characters from calling you anymore. So this was also a big one. You basically wouldn't be able to progress with your side quests, your side missions, or any other missions for that matter, because the calls wouldn't work anymore. Bricks detonators should now be properly interactable for all players to disarm or set off your call. Elevator doors should now correctly open in the heist. Sol now correctly gets out of cars in Riders of the Storm. Fixed an issue of not receiving new calls or messages after running too far away from fire rank in Warpigs. Jackie now correctly leaves the factory after combat is finished in the pickup. Fixed an issue with Militech, reinforcements not spawning if driving through the gate too fast in Forward to Death. Skipping time while in the club in Violence no longer results in issues with progression. Fixed issues with starting gig getting warmer. This is really vague. They should really say what they have actually changed. Fixed an issue with not receiving new calls or messages after Pyramid Song has been abandoned midway. Fixed an issue whereby Delmain core could be already broken when player enters the core room in Don't Lose Your Mind. Fixed issues with Delmain not appearing or doing nothing outside the afterlife in the heist. Fixed an issue with Objective getting stuck on Talk to Victor in the Ripper Dog. Fixed an issue whereby it was impossible to talk to the bouncer in front of Lizzie's in the information. So I never had this problem actually. I somehow managed to talk to the bouncer that's in front of the club, no problem. And I guess most people just weren't able to, so I'm glad this is fixed. Add description for Don't Lose Your Mind in the journal. Fixed an issue preventing player from saving, using fast travels, and talking to other NPCs after reloading a save with an active call with Frank in Warpigs. This sounds like a pretty big one. it probably ruined the experience for a lot of people. Just because you can't save, you can't fast travel, and you can't talk to anyone else. Fixed an issue with Panam not calling about any other matter until our flyaway is completed. And finally, fixed an issue with Dum Dum following V after the pickup is finished. So even though you have this long list of bugs, there's still like another, what, like 50 bugs on top of this that need to be fixed. That I just can't think of on top of my head right now. But, apparently they have fixed T-posing. They haven't mentioned this here, they'll probably mention it down the line. But let's keep going. So we got gameplay. Improve the reaction times of NPCs taking cover. This is good, it will make it more immersive, just because you won't be able to kill NPCs that much faster, right? They're gonna be taking cover faster, so combat is gonna be more enticing. Corrected the number of shots needed to kill civilians from a distance while in combat. This is huge, purely because if you kill a civilian while in a gunfight with someone like an enemy, the civilians would probably also die, resulting in you being wanted by the NCPD. There's some visual fixes here as well. So fixed an issue with Delmain's image displayed on the top of the current caller during phone calls. So this would be like where, say you received a call from Takamura, Delmain's image would still be over the top of Takamura's face in that phone call. And yeah, it's very buggy. V's mouth doesn't stay open after entering the space lock in Where Is My Mind? I haven't seen this one yet, but this sounds pretty hilarious. Fix some UI overlap issues. Okay, I had this happen a lot when I was playing on controller on PC, and then I moved to keyboard for other things, and came back to the game, and my controller scheme was actually overlapped with my keyboard, and it made it very hard to read what was going on, and it would look very cluttered. V appears more modest in the inventory preview after the half-year montage. Don't know what they mean by modest, honestly, and I don't know what the half-year montage is. I haven't completed the game myself yet, so let me know in the comments below if you do know what this means. NPCs are faster to appear in the quest area during Stadium Love. Added some warmth to HDR. This is good, it will make it more color accurate. Fixed T-posing, okay, here we go. Fixed T-posing NPCs in suspected organized crime activity, Just Say No, and The Gig for more merchandise. But the problem is that the T-posing isn't only in these two missions. It happens randomly to civilians still as well, and that still isn't really fully fixed yet. Fixed an issue whereby after a brain dance, it was possible to be stuck in third person view with no head. Okay. Silencer icons are no longer displayed with no image in the inventory. Okay, there's some UI changes here. So fixed an issue with weapon crosshair persisting on the screen. The inventory menu no longer closes immediately after opening it the first time after leaving a car. Fixed an issue whereby upon accessing a fast travel terminal, the button shown on the top right corner prompting to open a quest journal would not work. Performance and stability. This one's huge. People expected like crazy FPS boosts because it says performance, but honestly this should have just said stability. Because they only mention here that there's stability improvements including crash fixes, which all goes under stability, so there's no performance improvements here in this patch. So don't expect going into this patch thinking that your FPS is going to increase by a lot, especially on an Intel system this time round. Miscellaneous. Off-screen explosions make noise now. This is hilarious, because like, you would You would not hear an explosion, but you'd turn around and see a car just completely smeared to bits. It would be quite funny. Right, so here we go. PC specific. So, on my opinion on the game does not perform any well on any platform, even on PC, believe me. Especially if you have older hardware. Something like a GTX 970, which is what I use for content creation and for gaming. It doesn't run well on this game whatsoever. So I'd recommend to get at least an RTX card of some sort, or a 1660 Super. A 10 series card would also be fine, but I have a worry that if you have a 10 series card, it's just not really gonna be supported in the near future, let's say 2-3 years. So for this first PC specific patch, they fixed the AMD shader model thread utilization for 4-core and 6-core processors. 8-core, 12-core, and 16-core processors remain unchanged and behaving as intended. This change was implemented in cooperation with AMD and based on tests on both sides indicating that performance improvement occurs only on CPUs with 6 cores and less. So if you have, for example, an AMD Ryzen 5 3600, which is a very popular budget CPU, you might see some performance improvements here and there. Fixed an issue with the way raw input is collected. So I don't know what this means, but I know that raw input is a way to decrease latency from your mouse, a keyboard, or a controller, for example. Removed the use of AVX instruction set, thus fixing crashes occurring at the end of a prologue on processors not supporting AVX. I'm not tech savvy enough to know what AVX means, but again, if you do, let the people know in the comment section down below. It'll help everyone out a lot. Remove debug console to prevent functions that could lead to crashes or block quests. So they basically removed the debug console. This doesn't mean that we don't want to support the modding community. Stay tuned for more info on that. Okay, so I don't know why they took away the debug console anyway. They did say it led to crashes, but no one really used it if they were just playing the game. You would only use the debug console for modding, specifically. So I don't understand why they took that away. Ray trace reflections should no longer seem too bright in comparison to the environment. Again, I can't say anything on this. I have a GTX 970. For this, you'd need an RTX card or something like a 1660 to even tell. Fixed an issue with Steam overlay crash on game shutdown. Interesting. Okay, here's the big one that everyone got, I want to say scammed on, because they removed the memory pool budget CSV file, which was not connected with the final version of the game and had no influence on it. It was a leftover file used during the development to estimate their memory usage. It had no effect on how much memory was actually allocated towards the game. Perceived performance increase after editing the file may have been related to restarting the game. So a lot of you have probably done this fix where you had to go into a custom file and change the RAM, but nothing really happened. And I knew this wouldn't really work because the VRAM, no matter what you set it to, it just wouldn't change for the game. So everyone was being trolled. And the guy that originally posted this on Reddit now wants to get in touch with the CD Projekt Red developers to get proof. Which, there's proof in the hotfix right here, so. Okay, and now another big one for you guys out there that are playing on consoles and last-gen consoles especially. They improved the sharpness with chromatic aberration and film grain on. Settings should no longer reset to default after several game session restarts. Fixed visual issues occurring during the transition between the heist and Love Like Fire. corrected the look of several vehicles, and these two are going to be Xbox ones. So entering combat while synaptic accelerator is active no longer ends in the player's health bar not being displayed. Game no longer becomes unresponsive when signing out from a profile when a controller disconnection message is visible. And then these last two, telemetry consent requests will appear once more due to an earlier issue with settings reset. Fix an issue whereby it was possible to fall down the elevator shaft in Mega Building H8 in Automatic Love. So that's the end of the patch notes. There's a lot to be done still, like performance, but I can tell you guys this straight away. So if you go to the CD Projekt website right now, you can see that they're looking for an engine programmer, and this is a really big hint because it lets us know that they are looking to optimize their own engine that they're using, that they use for both The Witcher and this game, Cyberpunk. So once they get the engine programmer, I reckon they're gonna be on a very good direction to getting their reputation back by optimizing the game, by fixing bugs. But this is said to be the last update of this year, so the next update is potentially gonna be in January, followed by February, and hopefully the game is in a much more playable state by then. But that's it from me for now, guys. If you found this insightful, please subscribe, hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.